Hello everyone, I am back with another character video because you guys were asking. So this time I'm going to be talking about my precious baby boy Sanka. First of all, about the speed paint, yeah, just doing another sketch like I did with the Lucy one. I did change my recording settings a little bit on OBS, so it's a little weird. Like, you see the cursors, like, really weird looking. That's why. It's because I did a window capture instead of a display capture, and bleh, I don't like how it turned out, but whatever. And also, towards the end, I didn't end up recording it, but, like, after I finished everything, I ended up changing his face a little bit because I wasn't super happy with it, so I changed it. So that's why the end image is a little bit different than what I was doing. So anyways, let's get started, shall we? So his name is Sanka. First name Sanka. His last name is Shinchu. It's Japanese. I kind of screwed up the spelling on his last name when I first made him, but I get so attached to it, I never change it. Technically, his last name, it's the way I spelled it is Shinchu, but it should either have like two U's or like a little line over the U, just for the pronunciation of it to be exact, but I never put it in there, so I mean, it's still kind of the same, so whatever. So his first name, Sanka, means oxidation in Japanese. And his last name, Shinchu, means brass. So his name is very literal. Basically meaning brass oxidation, oxidated brass, that sort of thing. 'Cause that's literally like what he is. Yeah. So age, as I said with the Lucy one, I see all my characters in kind of like an ageless void, and like half the time with him and scenarios and all that, it's actually as he's getting older, but like the start of his canon, the start of his story, he is 17. Nationality, he's Japanese. He's, yep, just full on. So, sexuality with him. He is also pansexual, like Lucy is, but he's a little more... He has issues with women, let's just say that. He would date a woman, you know, if he found one that he cared for, or, you know, anything in between. Just, he has some issues with the ladies, which I'll go into, so he tends to prefer dudes. He likes the cold. He likes cold weather, being in cold places, anything cold. He doesn't like wearing like sleeves and stuff like that just because he likes cold. He likes vinegar and like acidic foods and stuff like that, mostly because it's a little joke on my part. You can actually use vinegar to tarnish and oxidize brass. A lot of like home builder people will use that as like decoration, like for like doorknobs and stuff. They'll do some sort of vinegar treatment on it, which makes it look all fancy and old and pretty and whatever. He also likes exercising and boxing. He, you know, is all about that grind. Gotta work the grind. He really hates hot weather and heat and anything hot. There's more reasons to it than just he doesn't like it, but I'll go into that in a minute. He also dislikes his mom. He has some issues. He has some mommy issues, which I will also go into. And like I said, women, he also has issues with. He dislikes school. He doesn't care. He's not the smartest. He's like average intelligence, really, but he can be really dumb and stupid about a lot of stuff. He has like no social skills, so he hates talking to people really, and like intrusive people who try to get all up in his business. So yeah, that's his basics. Now he is also a Boku no Hero Academia fan character, like Lucy is. They're from the same like universe. So I went into the brief explanation in Lucy's. I'm not gonna go into it again here because I have a lot to cover with Sanka. So his quirk that he has is it's just called like brass skeleton. Like literally all his bones are made out of brass. The most ones that like you see are the ones on his knuckles, because he has like the bone is like exposed there for him. So he has control over the brass within his body, but no like other outside sources of it. So he can't say like touch something that's brass and manipulate it or anything. Only the bones in his body, which is why he can take his little brass knuckles that he has, and if he like tenses his hand or whatever, he can shoot them into like little spikies. They make little spikes for good for punching. Yep, good for punching. He can also manipulate like the density and weight of the bones in his body, which is all like anime nonsense, so don't look too much into it. And because of, you know, all his bones being made out of metal, he's a little bit heavier than he should be. I looked up the exact calculations for it once, but I totally forget what the conversion is. It was... I went deep into this, guys. I looked up how much the average human skeleton weighs, how much bone weighs per square inch, and then how much brass weighs per square inch, and like did all this math. But I basically figured out that I think like the average human skeleton weighs like 15 pounds, and Sanka's skeleton would weigh like 40 or something like that. So yeah, he has like brass knuckles, so he's like a brawler type. He likes physical hand-to-hand combat, mostly like boxing, but also because of his quirk being, you know, all his bones are metal and he's like heavy and stuff, he can't swim. He would sink right to the bottom, so he is kind of afraid of deep bodies of water. He doesn't really like even going near them. Obviously things like bathtubs and stuff are fine, but anything that's like above a waist level, he gets a little freaked out over. He also is kind of afraid of fire, just because it's hot, and he doesn't like heat because why? Brass has a low melting temperature, and if he gets exposed to too high of temperatures, his bones and stuff actually get a little bit like wibbly wobbly and soft, and he doesn't like that. Now, of course, there's anime nonsense that goes into it, and to actually like completely like melt his bones down, the temperature would be like high enough to like burn your skin off. So it's not anything like that, but they do get a little bit like soft and not necessarily malleable, but weak if he's exposed to too high of temperatures. And yeah, he has like no long range at all. Has to be like up in your face. Let's see. So his early life, he was a pretty normal little kid up until he was like 6 years old, when he started getting an attitude. His mom in the world is actually a pro hero. She's like a low-ranking pro hero. She focuses on like rescue stuff, and her quirk is actually oxygen manipulation. So it has to do with oxygen, air, stuff like that, which bibbidi boo mixed with Sanka's dad's quirk, which is just brass, basically like Sanka's quirk, but his dad can also like control brass around him, that if he like touches it or something, and like his arms are like made out of brass and stuff. So because of Sanka's mother's quirk mixing with his dad's, poor little baby Sanka has to deal with a more rapid decay, a more rapid deterioration of his bones and the brass within his body, which is why you see the heavy oxidation like in his freckles. His hair, the blue part of his hair is actually oxidated, which is why he has those like little blondie little strands coming out of the front, because that's his hair before it undergoes oxidation. So when he was a little baby kid, his hair went from blonde to black instead of blue to black. But yeah, that's why he has issues with his mom, because he feels like his mom weakened him in a way, weakened his quirk. Like, he could have been stronger if it weren't for her, because his dad's line of the family is all metal quirks, like very strong genes with the metal. So yeah, he knows it's irrational, but his mom didn't mean to basically make his life horrible, but that's just how it ended up. Yeah, he knows that it's not her fault, but he's an angsty teenager, so he's gonna get mad at her anyways. And that's also why he has issues with women, just from his mom in general. He just kind of sees them as untrustworthy, and just doesn't trust them. It's totally just dumb and stupid because he's dumb and stupid. But yeah, so he got into a lot of fights when he was a kid. He has a lot of like anger issues and issues with self-worth and feelings of inadequacy and stuff like that because of his quirk not being as good as he feels like it should be. So yeah, he got kicked out of a couple schools. His favorite story is he got kicked out of a school for punching a girl in the nose and breaking her nose. That's his favorite. Basically, the story with that is she and her friends were like trying to mess with him, and they gave him like a fake confession note that basically, you know, he thought it was real, but when he opened it up, it basically was like, LOL, KYS. So he wasn't too happy about that, and yeah, broke her nose, so got kicked out of that school. And then as a kid, his parents moved around a lot, so he's been to a lot of different schools. He, like I said, he's not the smartest. He got held back a couple times, which is why at 17, he is just a first year in high school. So his personality, you might have gotten some of it by now. He's a grumpy bean. One of the best ways to describe him is tsundere, because he definitely is. He's just totally socially inept. He doesn't know how to talk to people. He misses social cues, and jokes and stuff sometimes go over his head, and his own sense of humor is really stupid and skewed and weird because of it. He never really had any friends, never really had anyone to goof around with. He was just kind of always by himself, you know, being angry. But yeah, he has a temper. A lot of it comes from his dad. His dad is also very, like, brash and blunt and easy to anger, sort of. Him and his dad get in a lot of altercations, but they're both big boys. They can handle it. So yeah, one part of his personality, though, that a lot of people don't get to see is he's actually, like, a very shy bean. He ain't never had no boyfriend or girlfriend, so he is a shy little baby. He can, like, punch someone's teeth out, but holding hands, like, goodness gracious, he will implode with, like, his face blushing and all that sort of nonsense. Of course, in, like, AUs and stuff, he gets some honeys, but just, you know, before any of that happens, he just doesn't know anything about it. He's very innocent, let's just put it that way. So hopefully I have enough time to go over this. His quirk. So he's actually a little bit tragic of a character. His quirk is slowly killing him because of the combination of his mom and his dad's quirk with the oxidation and the deterioration of his body. basically you can think of oxidation working in like a similar way as rust. So his body is literally rusting from the inside. So his bones are just slowly deteriorating and oxidating and just not becoming as strong. His joints get locked up, that sort of dealio. The way I kind of think of it as trying to describe it is kind of like a cancer in his bones, sort of. So once he hits about 20 years old, it really starts affecting him. All growing up, like, he's one of those guys that, like, you know, can crack every joint on his body, like, a million times. And when he stands up, he sounds like an old man, just because with all the popping and cracking. But, yeah, when he hits about 20, it starts to really impact him. It starts with, like, back pain, and then slowly turns into, like, some days he can barely get out of bed because he just cannot move. Depending on the AU and the timeline and whatever, there's different ways that he can combat this and does combat this. If he was just, like, left by himself to deal with it, he would probably just die. He doesn't like doctors. He's very bad at taking medicine. He doesn't like hospitals. So, yeah, if left to his own devices, he would just sort of waste away. Doctors basically told him by the time he's in his mid-30s, he would be pretty much completely immobile, and his body would just sort of wither, you know. So yeah, depending on the AU, sometimes he gets his quirk permanently erased, which doesn't take away the damage that's already there, but keeps any more damage from happening. In the way of getting it erased, it's not like his bones would suddenly not be made out of metal, but the little oxygen parts of his quirk that are sort of there would be erased and keep him from decaying from that. Because he has, like, little baby oxygen powers just from his mom. Nothing really special. It's just his blood is really well oxygenated and that sort of thing. It's no big deal. But yeah, if he gets that taken away, then, you know, he'd only have to deal with the natural decay of his bones, which would be a lot slower, which could give him a, you know, better quality of life, a longer life. Another way that he can live is, I won't go into too much detail of it, but let's just say my friend's characters are involved. Yeah, there's a way that they can keep him young. We'll say that. I don't want to go into too much detail about it. Maybe I'll do like a ship video at some point that will go over all this nonsense, but it's way too much to get into now. But yeah, that's the basics. He is kind of dying, so that's fun. He doesn't tell anybody about it because he's a little baby. I can't think of much else to go over with him besides that he's a giant brat and he's a child. Yeah, I mean, if you guys have any questions about him, any more questions, I can answer those in the comments. Which does remind me, I made a couple changes to my channel, which went and deleted all the comments I made on everything. So that's really neat. All the questions I had replied to in the past, all my answers are now gone. Bye-bye. So if you guys have any questions, my channel's good now, so now everything will stay there and be put. But if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments and I will answer them. And you guys can follow me on Tumblr, Instagram. Same username is here. Ask me questions there too if you want. And that's it. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.